Alright, YouTube, today I'm gonna be showing y'all how to do a mid taper on straight hair. Right now we're grabbing our 3 guard, and all we're doing is we're gonna open up the level all the way, and we're gonna create this first kind of that. It's not the first ball guideline, but it's the first guideline within fading the hair. Whenever the client, whenever you're dealing with straight hair, more so this is not towards like the Edgar haircuts when it's a lot of bulk on the sides and a little taper. This is more so how to more so of a straight hair type of um basically you want the hair to look almost flushed or almost blended perfectly all the way down to the taper. And you don't want to have a lot of bulk right there. So what we did was open up our 3 guard all the way and just debulk creating that first guideline. Now we're setting our first guideline with the our second guideline, which would start the taper, or the first taper guideline, and we did that with the lever all the way closed. Now we're going to move on to the back side, connecting with the 3 guard on the back, and we're going to slightly drop it in the back. Now what we're doing when we get to the top, we're slightly flicking out. See how they still have weight line at the top? We want that. We're going to take that out with shears, with our thinning shears and our blending shears. And that's all we're doing. When we get to the top of the head, or when we get to the, because I know I want to drop fade in the back, and I know I do want a straight drop fade guideline so the haircut can come out as clean as possible. So with that, I'm just gonna flick out to leave the weight, and you want to leave weight with hair like this because he does want his top textured. So when you have textured hair, you do want that to kind of sit on top of something, so it just doesn't look all out of whack and stuff like that. Now we're sending that first guideline for the back, the neck area, so we can get our back tip in, back taper going, back taper starting. And y'all, what I like to do, I do like to set in all my guidelines first on well, really on every haircut. I like to set in all my guidelines first, making sure everything is even or, in the shape that I will want my taper so I can have a rough draft or a guide whenever I'm doing the fading process. Now we're moving on to the left side of his head, and we're doing the same exact thing. Making sure everything is even, making sure we're setting in our guidelines just as how we set in our guidelines on the right side. And we're using the same guard, the 3 guard, and we're flicking out when we get to the top, leaving some weight. All we're doing is removing all of the bulk so we can be able to set in that first guideline or do the taper. Because with all this hair right there during the in the taper area, we won't be able to successfully set in our guidelines with all that bulk right there. So what we're doing, we're removing the bulk as y'all can see, and then we're setting our first guideline for the taper on the left side now. All right, now we're gonna start back. You can do whatever side that you're comfortable on. Me, I'm more so comfortable on the right side because I am right-handed. So what I did right now is just following the first guideline for the taper portion of the haircut. So what I did was open up the lever all the way, and all I'm doing right now is just fading all that down. Once I set in my guideline, I down fade. Down fading is moving down, or just fading down, basically what the name implies. Just fading down. Now we got on our 3 guard. Once I set in that first, once I fade out everything with that lever all the way open with no guard, I start putting my highest guard on. The highest guard I'm gonna use is a 3 guard because I removed the bulk with the 3 guard. So what I'm doing, I'm putting on my 3 guard and I'm fading down, closing the lever till we get to all the way close. But to initiate a nice even fade or to keep my down fading process, I'm not gonna be fading down to where I was when the lever was all the way open with the clipper. So what you want to do, you want to open up your lever all the way with the 3 guard. Right now we're in the 2 guard position, but you want to open up the lever with the 3 guard all the way, and then fade down, slowly closing the notch till you can't hear the hair cut anymore. And then you want to initiate that with the 2 guard. Wherever you left off with the 3 guard, you want to move with the 2 guard in that same position with the lever all the way open. Then you down fade till it's all the way closed. And now we have on our half guard or 1.5 guard. This is the guard after the 1 guard. And when we did with the 1.5 guard, now we picked up where we left off from where the 2 guard was, and we're slowly closing. And as you can see right now, the fade is getting lighter at the bottom. That's because we're down fading. We're keeping the darkness at the top that we faded already, and we're just moving down. Now we're gonna go in with our number one guard and just slightly with every guard that I'm putting on, I'm still keeping that same flick out motion. With straight hair, it's a little bit more different than coarse hair. With straight hair, you wanna kind of exaggerate your flick out motion a little bit more. Because with straight hair, if you cut straight into it, the hair will literally just go away. The best way I could put it is just hovering over the hair. Now we're just gonna point cut because this is where we came from right here, and now we're just point cutting. As you can see, it's nice and faded out. But since the reason why we're point cutting with the half guard is because it was already light right there at the bottom with the one guard. Now, as you can see here, as we're removing bulk, it's not the hair that's basically right there on the bulk guideline. It's the hair way up there right by his crown that we have to necessarily cut just to get that nice layered, nice blend that we want. Because you want the haircut looking right. You don't want to set in a taper and all that bulk be right there for the at the top of the head. It's gonna look disconnected. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna use our shears and we're gonna slowly connect the taper into the top of the hair, so it looks nice and laid down and nice and blended, kind of gradient as I would say. You just want to look like pixelated, like hair for hair right there, just blending smoothly. And that's all we're doing. We're not necessarily putting the comb in a certain direction or angling the comb in a certain direction. We're just digging in and we're just going straight up with the comb. And then every hair that's over the guidelines or the hairs that we previously just cut, we're gonna cut that hair. And that's gonna make for a smooth transition. As y'all can see, is it's a smooth transition right now. We're slowly getting it there. Slowly getting it. And we are using the cutting shears. We're not using the texturized or blending shears. The blending shears you're gonna see in a few seconds. The cutting shears are just to get more so of the shape or any very very hard lines out. But to really blend the hair in, you want to use texturizing shears or blending shears. They're both the same thing. They just have different names. People call them different names and stuff like that. And that's all we're doing. As you can see, the blending, I mean the cutting shears, they're really doing their job, and it's a real nice blend. Now here are the blending shears. The blending shears are with a lot of teeth, or texturizing shears if you want to call them. You could get these on Amazon, or you could walk into like a Sally's by y'all, or most y'all have probably a Barber supply near y'all. Me, my town is so small, we don't have no type of Barber supply. The closest thing I have to a Barber supply is Walmart or Sally's. So basically what we're doing is all them little imperfections. Blending shears is kind of like point cutting when fading. That's all it is. And this is where we came from right here. See all that bulk, all that bulkiness and everything? We just did that. We did the fade already. We just took all that out with the shears. So if y'all follow this technique, man, it will work for y'all. And this is what we got right here. A nice clean blend. Look how clean the blend is. Look how flat and look how much everything is just blended in. Just nicely blended in. Now we're going to initiate to do the back taper right here. Level all the way open. And you're going up about, an inch or a half an inch. I would recommend a half an inch. You kind of want to dictate that by how, wide of an area that you have to fade. This client, he has a lot of room dealing with the neck area. So I can go up or a lot of hair on the back of his neck, or his neck is kind of much of a wider longer somewhat neck, so he can't set in more than just a half of an inch. If he doesn't really have much work to work with if you have a little bit of hair, or his neck is a little bit shorter and you have such a tight space to work with, then you want to try to initiate making your guidelines a lot smaller. We're not really doing oh my goodness. We're not really doing a compact blend on this client. Now the same thing that we did for the neckline up, we're doing it for, the taper, the side taper, we're gonna do it for the neckline up. Every process should be the same. We have our level all the way open with our 3 guard, and we're fading down. Fading down again is closing the lever. Every time you move down, you close the lever a tad bit till you get to all the way closed. Then you want to move to your next guard, which will be our 2 guard right here, with the lever all the way closed, and we're fading down, doing the same exact process. Same exact process. And y'all see how I'm turning my client? Sometimes we get focused on doing one side a little bit more, or sometimes, like when you look at the client right here dead on, you can't really see the right side or the left side, but you're really focused on the middle. There's more, it's like his hair kind of goes around the edges of his neck. So you kind of want to move your client just so you could fade, you know, all the hair at the same time, like from the right side to the left side, just so it don't look uneven or it looks like the right side of the neck taper is more darker than the left side. That's really because you're not fading evenly, or the fade isn't even. It's because you're not turning your client. Like right now, I'm working on my left side. Then I'm gonna turn my client to the right side, which is gonna initiate or make the fade all the way even. And that's just little tips. Man, that's something. That's well, it's a little tip with big results. It's gonna help y'all in the long run. When everything is even and everything is nice and laid down, and as y'all can see, where the taper is super super blurry. It's really grainy, and that's what the word I like to use. But right now we're taking a 1 guard and we're just doing the same exact thing. Same exact process. When you do the same exact thing on each side of the taper, or just, fading on one side, fading on the other side, fading in the back, everything should be even. Everything should be the same. You should be doing the same exact steps. The same exact steps will in the long run make everything more, it would just come out a nice and more cleaner haircut. And that right there would just do, these little steps will have a big difference. The little things come in, what they say, little things come in big packages or whatever, so something like that. But as y'all can see, I'm just fading my right side just so y'all can see the transition, because a couple of seconds ago it didn't look like it was much. But like that 1 guard and that half guard area, man, it makes a big difference fading it out. So I'm really just leaving one side for y'all to see the transition of what I did, of what the 1 guard and the half guard can do for y'all. Don't be discouraged doing the fade. It's all going to slowly just come together like it just did. And that's faded right there. Now we're going to do the same thing with the shears. We're going to take our cutting shears and we're going to take our blending shears. And we're just going to fade all that in. Basically, whatever hair is laying on top is not that line right there, but it's the hair sitting above it. And that's what we're cutting. It's the hair sitting above it. As y'all can see, that line isn't there no more. It's the hair right there sitting above it that you have to cut to make all that blend in. And if you want to create another line, see, I'm cutting higher now. And I'm going to keep going higher till I get all that out. Boom. Just cutting, cutting, cutting. And what I do, I like to do a 3. It's kind of like a 3 cut system. 1, 2, 3, and then go down. 1, 2, 3, and then go down. I don't do it all the times, but that's the process that I like to follow. And then all these little imperfections, basically the same thing as point cutting when you do in your fading. Fading is to, get the foundation, and then point cutting for the fade is to, get them little imperfections, and is basically perfecting the fade or the haircut. This is the same exact thing. The cutting shears, as y'all can see, gets the shape and everything ready for us, or prep for us. And then the texturizing shears we're using right now is basically just blending everything in. And I will do a more in-depth tutorial when it comes to texturizing the top of the hair. But right now I'm just using a razor comb, if I would say. And I'm just cutting the comb, cutting the hair, just layering his haircut. And then in the end, you can really see, or the next next slide, you'll be able to see how good this came out. Now look how good and layered everything is and texturized everything is. Look how clean and good that looks. Now right here, we're just setting the neckline up. For the neckline up, you wanna when you get a little bit more experience, you can do it with 2 hands, but you're right-handed, or if you're left-handed, when you work on a certain side, like right now I would be holding my left hand with the ear if I was to do the 2-hand method, and then I'll have to cross hands. and that wouldn't feel necessarily comfortable, but it'll get the job done. So you can start off like that, but as you get more so into the barbering, I guess more comfortable with cutting hair and more so, used to it and stuff like that, used to cutting hair, you start to do the one finger method. That's when you put your pointer finger on the ear, slightly on the ear, and you just go around. You hold it down with you hold the ear down with your pointer finger, and you're just going around like basically like a pencil compass, if y'all know what that is. Like when you put the pencil in the middle of the compass, or you put your hand in the middle of the compass, and you just go around with the pencil, if y'all understand that. Now we're gonna match the right side neck area, neckline with we're gonna match the left side with the right side. I'm sorry. And yep, it really don't take much. You shouldn't be pressing down too hard with your clippers or whatever. Just let the clippers do what they do. If you're pressing down too hard, your clippers, you need to zero gap your clippers a little bit more. And I do have a tutorial on how to zero gap your clippers. I will do a tutorial on how to zero gap your trimmers, just so y'all can have everything kind of flush like how I do. But remember, you need multiple trimmers and clippers because they all do the same exact thing. Not necessarily the clippers, but the trimmers, you need multiple trimmers with different blades. That's the thing. I can have 5 different low pros, but I'm gonna make sure they all have different blades. And I'm gonna make sure at least 2 of them have this gold blade. This gold blade is the best blade on the market right now. This gold FX blade. It's not necessarily the Babyliss FX trimmer. It's just this blade, man. This blade is amazing. This is the only blade that I've had that's like, it's like soft to the touch and cuts very sharp at the same time. But this is the after haircut right here. This is a nice, clean, straight haircut, man. And look, it's HYB. If y'all follow these steps, man, y'all gonna be just as fire as me. Just as fire as this tutorial. I ain't gonna say me. But look, it's HYB. If you're not handling your business, doing what you're doing, and we out.